Hello and welcome to this episode of Inspiring Conversations. I'm speaking with inspiring leaders and successful entrepreneurs. If you haven't seen any of these episodes before, my name is Mikaela Bertilsson and I'm from Sweden. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm passionate about the digital life, and I'm also a job coach and a mom. In this episode, we're going to speak with Trish Davis and Chris Swaney from Australia. They were once co-workers and worked alongside. And now, a few years later, they are business partners and have two businesses online. And we're going to talk to them about how they brought their business online and also how they surround themselves with the right people. Welcome so much, Trish and Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mikaela.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Please tell us a little bit about your background.
Chris, you might want to start first.
Yeah, okay. So I guess, I've been in the corporate life for, 30 plus years and working in finance and accounting all that time. And to be honest, you get a bit frazzled with all the deadlines and all the pressure. So I'd kind of developed over, a few years an interest in information technology, and I thought I would start maybe go in another direction in my career. And to be honest, it was going to take me, 3 years to get a qualification, and I wasn't sure if I was prepared to do that because there's no guarantee of a better job. So I just kind of put that on the back burner a little bit, and I started searching on the internet for perhaps e-learning, and that's when I came across a company that provides the education and the tools and everything in like a package to go on an entrepreneurial journey rather than wait and get a qualification and try and get a better job in a different area. So I kind of jumped in boots and all. I really wanted to go on this journey to build something for myself, that I could own. And as I progressed on this journey, I could see that what I was learning, I could see how it could actually assist Trish in her business. Now, Trish and I, have been friends for a very long time. We met in the corporate world, and I could see how time poor she was in her business, and it was really successful, but she didn't have any time. So I kind of spoke to her about what I could see, how this an online business could be suitable for her. So, we got together and I showed her what's possible, and then we developed her training program, and Trish can probably take on the end of that story. So
That's great. That's really good. And Chris, what happened, I think 4 months ago?
Oh, of course. So through this whole journey of progression and on this entrepreneurial journey, I was able to quit my job, and no more finance and accounting for me, except my own finance and accounting. So that was very cool.
Congratulations then.
Thank you.
That was a big moment.
Yeah.
So a little bit about my story. I'm currently based here in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. So I'm not in a major city. It's sort of it's a little smaller than the capital cities in Australia, but gives you all the beautiful features of, you know, having some sort of like beaches and cafes and restaurants. It's lovely. It's a lovely lifestyle. So I'm really pleased that I don't have to be in a major capital city doing that whole 9 to 5 thing. You know, just the commute was terrible. When I was a corporate accountant, I was like working in Sydney, and it wasn't very pleasant. So it's nice now that I can live out of the city and just have a really nice lifestyle. So it's wonderful. But let me just sort of go back to some turning points, I think, in my life that could relate to others out there, because sometimes when you're, as they say, backs against the wall, or when there's incredible adversity in your life, it's a bit of a wake-up call. It's a bit of a it can be a shock to the system for you to say things have got to be different, or is there another way out there? And I know I went through that. If you go back to 1999, I became a single parent through tragic circumstances, and it was pretty much immediate. And my daughter was 4 years old at the time, and it really made me evaluate my situation and where I was at and what I needed to do to provide stability for my daughter at the time. And I literally packed up, because I was living in the city doing the whole accounting thing, and packed the car and with my daughter and some belongings, and literally left the city and went to get, you know, financial support for me and my daughter, you know, from the government. Emotional support, because I'd made that decision back then to be an at-home mum. And when that all happened, it was, you know, quite devastating, and you've got to reassess everything. Mm-hmm. So packed the car, left, came up, got financial support from the government, got emotional support from my family, which I needed at the time. And, you know, I sat reflecting. It was a bit like Chris saying, well, I wanted to go and look for something. And so I went and signed up for a university degree, which is insane really at the time, because I enrolled into finance and accounting when, you know, I failed at school. I got 25% in commerce. I failed maths. I dropped out at 15. I was rebellious in nature. The teachers didn't like me at all. And so I think they were waving at the gates to say goodbye and good riddance. I spent more time out of school than I did in school. My truancy was really atrocious. So there was something not happening for me, something not working. It wasn't right, whether it was society's rules or regulations. I wasn't complying. I was rebelling. There was a lot going on at 15. So I had no qualifications either. So I thought that this was a turning point for me. I'm going to go and get some qualifications. I did that, 4 years at university. Came out as a fully fledged accountant, got a job as a graduate accountant with a whopping $35,000 a year. And I thought, you have to be kidding me. Seriously, like hundreds of hours of study and hundreds of assessments. And I mean, I enjoyed the journey of the study and the university. It had a purpose, it had a direction, but you have to be kidding. You come out there and it's like, is this it? Cubicle, poring over reports and balance sheets and hardly speaking to anyone. Chris and I, that's where I met Chris. Chris and I were in such a toxic environment that our boss used to frown upon us even sticking our heads over the cubicle and chatting. We were working in an office with no windows and there was no sunlight, you know, that whole thing of, and it was just stressful, and you're working with people that you don't always like to work with. And Chris and I became friends and knew that this wasn't going to be the future for us, because, and for me especially. So what happened was, what the $35,000 per year income gave me was access to the bank, because I went to the bank, said what I earned, and they in return gave me access to $350,000 in finance. And that was a bit of a light bulb moment, because then I wanted to buy my first home for me and my daughter. And then I thought, well, if I can do one, I can do another. And so I went to the bank and said, okay, well, based on if I rented this house out and it gave me more income, what could you give me? And so the journey started. I realized that real estate was an incredibly powerful leveraged model. Leverage was the key in this whole thing, because I was leveraging through finance. 35,000 gave me 350,000, and that's enough. That's sort of the meaning of leverage, is being able to use that to get access to that. Mm-hmm. And we're now in this online digital marketing economy. It's the perfect example of leveraging your time, your money, your resources, because you have something that can be provided to a global audience, and you can do things that's going to give access, provide value to thousands of people. And there's only one of you, and that's okay, because you can provide product or service online that gets it out there. And that's the perfect example of leverage. So this is another incredible opportunity business model that you can utilize that leverage. So my real estate journey began. I was bold enough to give up my job, resign from my job in 2005. And I was so conditioned. I think we're all so conditioned by society that you're told you can't leave one job unless you have another one lined up. We're all told that by our parents, by teachers, by society. So I lied to my boss and employees that I had another job to go to. How crazy is that? I remember lying to these people. I felt awful about it, but it's what you do. So 2005 left. Chris moved on to another finance role somewhere else, and I started my own business, and it was real estate. And it took me to America. I took my daughter, she was 9 at the time, and we went to see Bob Proctor. For anyone that knows Bob Proctor, you can just Google that, and he's a personal development coach. And spoke to him, and he said that coaches and mentors are the most important part of any journey. If you want to be successful in anything, you've got to find the people that are doing it. And I found another coach that very same day. She was a real estate entrepreneur, same age, same background, she was an accountant, a single mom, and she built her real estate to $19 million. So I said, you know what, that's what I want to do. And so that was a moment in time where I connected with this whole another journey. Okay. So moved out of the corporate world, now all into another entrepreneurial journey, being coached by people that were doing it. And so the next 10 years, so I was 2006 and 2007 were really big years of coaching from those people. And then it took me to America to see and find and seek out real estate in America. And it was amazing. And it was during a time where GFC hit, 2008, 2009, when people were collapsing around me. I was seeing real estate entrepreneurs collapsing because they'd heavily invested prior to GFC. I just happened to come in at the right time when the market collapsed, and I was ready to actually move forward with opportunity. So it was maybe, the universe was looking out for me. There was a bit of luck. There was just the right timing, right place, right time. I met the right people, the right coaches, the right mentors, and the right circumstances environmentally just happened. And so everything lined up, and it was literally the perfect storm. And so I traveled around America for about 2 years researching markets. Am I talking a bit too long now? My journey, that's all.
That's answering all my questions, but
okay.
Go ahead.
2008 September was my first 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom investment in real estate in America. It took 2 years from the time of, actually a bit longer, 3 years from the time of meeting those coaches through to actually taking action to invest in my first. And I partnered with my mother in the first house. So we talk about resourcefulness. You find the money when you know that the timing's right, and you know when this opportunity is there. You become resourceful and you find the funds. So I approached my mother and said, would you like to invest in a house thousands of miles away in another country with different laws and rules, and
but Trish, I have to ask you now, when you say things like that, yeah, you have to be resourceful and you have to take the opportunity when it occurs. But do you think that you have more courage than most people? Yes.
Wow, that's a really good question. You develop courage. It's because people listening to this story is going to think, wow, she went from there to there. And it sounds like because of this conversation, there was no timeline. There is a timeline, and you develop your courage and your boldness. I mean, the day that I went in and resigned from my job, that took a certain amount of courage. And to even lie about that took a certain amount of courage. And then to go and then step out and say, well, I'm going to invest in another house. It takes another bit. Do you see? So it's like timeline. So you're building layers of courage. Is that making sense? You're building some boldness in the moves that you make. And it does require a mindset around that as well. You're developing the mindset at the same time. See, the coaches and the mentors helped to develop that boldness. They help to give you the confidence. They help to say, well, if I could do it, you can do it. So you're doing that at the same time. So I was still working when I was starting to listen to Bob Proctor tapes and CDs and reading books. And, you know, it was his very first book that actually opened the door for me to know that there was more out there. So it's a progression. It's a progressive journey. You build your resilience, you build your boldness. But it's taking the first step.
Yeah, baby steps and you take it up. But also about the mentorships and the coaches. Now I lost it. But yes.
I think because some people say that are leaders born or are they developed? It's a little bit like that question, you know, were you just bold and courageous, or was it developed? It's developed. Like, it's developed over time. Leadership skills are developed over time. The more you say yes to certain situations, the more you step up to certain situations, the more that you feel uncomfortable it means that you're heading in a right direction. Fear comes up a lot for me and has done in the past. There's no getting away from that. It's just how you respond to it. Is what's really important. And this journey now that Chris and I are on, because now we've transitioned my business into a digital online world, I didn't know. I had no technical skills. Still missing some of these technical skills required. I mean, I'm never going to be the expert. And I think when you develop and build a business, it teaches you and shows you the importance of putting people around you that know more than you. Like, my whole team in America building real estate is all about putting people around me that I connect to, that we have the same values, that can do a better job than I would ever do. Real estate taught me that. Real estate taught me about putting a whole team around you, right? Including coaches and mentors that are looking from the outside in, but then you need people directly impacting your business, involved in your business, that can, like, I'm here in Australia and that's all going on over there and I'm here. You know, there's a lot.
But also, when you have a mentor or a coach, would you say that you have to be in a certain way or have certain skills to get the best out of this mentorship?
So I think that the coaches and mentors have to have certain skills. They have to be doing it. Simply, they just have to be doing it. And they don't have to be miles ahead of you. you can find people in your community that can help. I mean, I remember when I knew that I had to deliver my message out there for my business, and I had to be a good communicator. And I was so scared of delivering a message, like I was petrified. And so I decided to go to Toastmasters for 6 months. And that was back in 2006, and that was right at that right time. And these are people, some of them were not miles ahead of me in being great communicators. They were just a little bit ahead of me, and they could just guide and help me and critique and give me feedback, and that was enough for me at that time.
But you have to be open to receive, otherwise you
Correct.
don't get the information.
Correct.
You're nodding, Chris. Right?
And I think anyone that wants to be on this journey, anyone that's on this call, anyone that's listening to this, are wanting to grow and develop.
But you say also that you had mentors for personal development, but you also had a mentor for growing the business, the real estate business. Do you have to have different mentors for different, or would it just be enough to have a mentor, personal development mentor?
Yes. You don't have to have mentors for specific journeys, but it did accelerate my journey. Okay. So it accelerated my journey, and they were both very different journeys. The Bob Proctor journey was very different from the real estate entrepreneur, very different, because they just attracted different people, and the masterminds were very different, different structures. And I think that it just depends where someone is at in their journey. It really does. And I wanted to fast track. It was quite obvious that I really wanted to fast track, and I was excited about the concept of having two separate coaches that could, one, first develop my mindset, and secondly, then develop my real estate journey. So I think I don't know. I think every person's journey is very different. I think their needs are very different, and it just depends on where they're at and who turns up, right? Well, they say that when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Who shows up? And people listening to this, could be, I mean, the fact that Michaela, you've turned up, you've showed up. And so that, I think that's important. Every journey, every person's journey is very different.
We are in the same business community, the three of us, and I'm just thinking, in this community, you are seen as a very successful leaders and entrepreneurs, and when you are coaching and showing up as leaders, what are you bringing to the table? What are you giving to the people you are coaching?
Chris, did you want to?
Yeah, I think we are bringing our experience. I think that, like Trish said, we don't have to be miles ahead of anybody. We just have to be a little bit ahead of somebody to help them, because it's just about following in someone else's footsteps. That's what coaching is all about, really. And you pull in all of the experience that you have from your life, not just from your business, because everyone can relate to different things, different parts of your journey. And I think that it's just important enough to be just a way ahead of somebody so that you can help them progress.
Do you have a answer, something more to comment on, Trish?
So just going back on your question earlier about we're all part of the same community. So this is a digital online community that we're all part of, and the journey that we're on. Chris approached me about starting up a digital online business, and that was last year. And she could see, so what was happening over the 10-year journey pretty much was I I had lots of investors coming through, because what happened was people started to see what I was doing and creating as far as real estate goes. And Australians knew that there was an opportunity in America to invest, but didn't know how to, didn't know what to do, how to do it, where to go, what team members they needed. And I think when somebody pioneers the way, or somebody just starts to do the journey, that really puts you in a position of being a coach, because you're pioneering the way, you're working out what needs to be done because you've done it yourself. And so we're examples of that in this digital online community, but I was an example of that also in my real estate journey as well. And people discover you, they find you, because they want people that have just started to pioneer the way. And so the demand for the real estate, my real estate sort of consulting business, grew organically. And this is what's happening here now with this opportunity. People want to know, well, how are you putting your business online? How did you do that? Like, what are you using? Like, there's thousands of things out there. How did you find the right model and the right system? And there's so much information, you see. So it's a very similar, there's a lot of parallels between the real estate investment journey with people looking for something and just needing people that are forging the way. Mm-hmm. And this journey has been very, very similar. So Chris did approach me and said, there's a better use of your time. Investors were becoming very demanding. I was finding, even to a point where some of them were quite ruthless, and I felt that I wasn't attracting the right type of person to deal with. Even though I had certain steps in place, I was attracting anyone that really wanted their real estate investment. And the personalities sometimes weren't always aligned, and I was getting very stressed, and it wasn't a great use of my time, because I would spend at least, my first consultation with them would be 2 to 3 hours one-on-one. And that really isn't a good use of my time through the week. And so Chris said, you need to leverage yourself. Here is a way of leveraging you and your time. And you can put all of that knowledge, intellectual property, skills, experiences, stories, you can wrap that up into what's called a training package, and you can deliver that online without you even being present. And I went, wow, that's freaking awesome. How do we do that? I have no clue how to do that. Go for it, Chris. So that took all last year. It took all last year, and it literally took a tripod and an iPhone, and I recorded what's called the 7 steps to buying USA real estate. It became 14 foundational videos. And we also add bonus videos to any rehabs that are going on, because I go back every year and manage projects. And so we record those and we put them up, and it becomes part of what's called a silver package now. Mm-hmm. So the advantage of that, the advantage is I can direct anyone, I can advertise to anyone around the world. I can direct anyone to that training package before they get to me. So charging $495 for those foundational videos, which is so much more information than they would get than having this 2 to 3 hour consultation. And generally when we had that consultation, it would be an information dump or overload. And they would walk away from that going, oh my goodness me, like they never had any questions because there was just too much information. And in a way it was good to convert, because they thought, I can't do this. Trish is going to have to do this for me. But what it did do was it put another revenue producing activity into my business, because 10 people a week at $495, $4,950. I mean that's so powerful. It's leveraging my time, leveraging my business. And I'm getting educated, informed investors come through before they get to me.
So what you did was you had your offline real estate business. You took some of the knowledge and made it into a course, into a package.
Correct.
So in that way you could leverage and get some time off well, off from the clients.
Correct.
But would you say that you changed the people you wanted to reach? A new target market? Was it
correct? Correct. Because what happens is as we've been going through this journey, your values, who you are and who you become, and this is through the program that we're all doing, the three of us are doing, through that journey, you define your values. You define what is really important to you. You define your future vision for who you want to be and your lifestyle. And you then start to filter out the people that do not align or fit in to that lifestyle, to your values. It's a process, and you require people to do that for you, because I didn't know to do that. I didn't know how important our values are. I didn't know how important having a vision and a mission is, and how it needs to be crafted in such a way where it attracts the right people into your business. And so I've forgotten the question, but
if you have a new target market, or if
yes,
it's the same.
So it changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It changes. And Chris and Chris, the people that we attract into our online business.
It's incredible that you can have a conversation, your very first conversation with someone, and you know instantly that they align with your values. It's just incredible, because if you just be yourself in your messaging, you will find that you are going to attract people who are just like you, or who align with those values that are important to you. So yes, it's all about the messaging, for sure.
Yes, and I would say that having read your website, I'm amazed by the authenticity and the share of your private life. And it's not like you say that you should be authentic, you are authentic. And then I can imagine that you attract authentic people as well. So the circle goes around.
It's true, Michaela, because we are attracting, it sounds crazy, we're attracting us.
Mm.
So we are attracting us. And it's interesting because the stories that we're hearing, and people, when you meet them for the first time, are very open and sharing their stories to you. It's as if we've opened or given permission or validated their stories even before we've even met them. And so there's such an authentic process going on. I mean, they're so open to their sharing. You're right. You're spot on. It's like, I think maybe it's all of the value that we're providing first that's giving them permission to just be authentic.
Mm. Yeah. Yes. I lost it again. I was thinking about the concept. So the concept is a sort of new, because you took the some of the knowledge you had in your business and took some of the knowledge to make a course. What if, because you say that you changed your target market, but that was because you are in this business community. If you haven't been there, do you think you have changed your target market, or just do it the same?
So let me just share a little bit. I think we'll progress the journey a little bit further, because last year was all about parceling up knowledge, intellectual property, and all of my experiences and putting that to an online package. And then what happened by December last year, I saw the power of this model, of this online business model, and for any business out there, how they can do exactly the same. And that's when I understood what Chris was so enthusiastic about and so passionate about, yet I wasn't, because I wasn't looking for anything. See, so she was very, and it wasn't till then that I really discovered the power of this model. And so we then started the affiliate, what's called affiliate marketing, which is the promoting of other people's products and services. And it was the products really that we're all involved in. And it was the service of providing education and training and all the tools to get your business online. I saw the power of that. And affiliate marketing is brilliant because it's like you don't have to create a product and service. I spent all last year creating and developing the product and service, and I thought, man, you can just like take somebody else's product and service and promote that and market that, and you don't have to stock it, you don't have to do the logistics, you don't have to do the financing, you don't have to do the customer service. And I'm thinking, this is awesome. So January this year, we started what's called the affiliate model. So that's our second online business. And we're pretty excited about that because we're getting sales now, which is we're getting results and we're reaching targets. So yes, we are attracting different customers now because we're now getting customers that are just not real estate based either. Now attracting different professions, different industries, different people that just want to create something of their own and take their own passions online. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. And it's exciting to follow your journey in the community because you are so passionate, you inspiring, you know, it's a pleasure to see your progression. And
Thank you.
So I'd like to thank you so much for making this video with me. And I'd like to say to you who's watching this, if you like more information, you can get the link below this video to Christian and Chris. And you can also see my website link down below. And I hope that you subscribe so you can catch up with more episodes. So I say thank you and hope to see you soon. Thank you so much, Chris and Trish.
Thank you, Michaela. It's been a pleasure.
Michaela.
Thank you.